Here we are, Whiskey Whistle Live, a sudden live, new name I've coined, just for fun. It looks like everything is live. I'm on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, I'll invite you to join me on YouTube. There's a link in the comment, and the reason is that there'll just be more viewers, and it'll be a little bit more enjoyable for you to join in on YouTube. So. Great to see everybody here tonight. I've got some excellent friends that have decided to pop by, including the very, what can I say, very generous, very awesome crewmate. He's a Whiskey Whistle crewmate, a big supporter of the channel, and his name is Graham Young. And he was just at Downriver. Downriver Rye is in his glass, so that's pretty awesome. And cool news for him, and I'm super jealous about this, but Graham is off to Scotland. So a big congratulations and safe travels, and have a blast out there. And I can't wait to see, whoa, that was a weird voice thing. I can't wait to see what people think of the bottles you're bringing with over in Scotland. So that's great. Excellent. A few people have joined in, so that's awesome. We got 5 people that are watching along. What? Oh, and my, what? My sump pump just turned on. What the? 1 second. Okay. Well, hopefully I don't get flooded here. I couldn't figure out what that noise was. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a minor fix-up for the excess water that Winnipeg has right now. So anyway, good stuff. Great to hear from you, Graham. Glad you're watching along. And to everybody who's following, thanks for popping in. This is just a very impromptu, sudden live stream. I was just on another channel, a cigar channel called Great Lakes Smoke Show. And to all those folks over there, really awesome. And thank you very much for having me on tonight. That was a lot of fun. We smoked an interesting cigar, which I couldn't quite finish. I have a hard time getting through them. I don't know about you. I do enjoy a bit of a cigar, though. I'm going to find the wrappers. Here's the wrappers. So here's the cigar we had tonight. It was the Christoph. Let me pull that up there. Come on now. Okay, that's hard to see. I have my my lights on a little bit low, so it's hard to pick up the actual wording. Anyway, Christoph 6, there it is. Christoph 1680, or sorry, 685 Woodlawn. Christoph 685 Woodlawn, a very nice cigar. That was quite enjoyable. And we had some Glencadam. I had Glencadam 21 in this glass, which is come and gone. I don't have very much of it left from a bottle that I had quite a while ago. But I did pour some Glencadam 15. So that is what's currently in my glass. And I'll show you a bunch of things that are coming up on the channel. I'll talk a little bit about what is coming up in terms of live streams and other things that are newish for the channel. And yeah, Graham says that he's happy that I've got a working sump pump. And, you know, it wasn't working last week, and I'm really glad that it is. That is so important for a home to have a sump pump and a sump pit to take care of excess water. Unless you live in someplace arid, I guess, like Arizona. Great. All right, so what should we start off with here? I've got that Glencadam 15. It's got some water added, so I don't know if you can see. There's a little bit of Highland mist going on there. Oh, yeah, I think you can see that, eh? Very nice. And this is my cigars, whiskey, and winning glass from my friend Joe down in Chicago. There we go. Okay, so we've got the Glencadam 15. I showed you that already. And what we just talked about with Graham is Downriver. There it is. Look at that. Yeah, Downriver Rye. This is from the East Coast in Canada, and not easy to get out west. But thanks to Graham, I have a bottle of that. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that right now. right. So I guess it's kind of late for everybody wherever you are. Unless you're on the West Coast, then I guess it's probably pretty early. You're probably just getting into a dram or two, aren't you? So if you're over on the West Coast, tell me where you are and tell me what you're going to be tasting tonight. Or if you're having a cigar, what kind of cigar are you going to be enjoying? Anyway, so that is the Downriver Rye. And I'm going to try to keep up with comments here a little bit as I can type here on my phone while I am watching myself, which is fun. Maybe I should do, what's that effect called where you have a picture of something like a mirror and then it shows like an infinite number of reflections? I forget the name of that effect. It's got a person's name. I just can't remember. And yeah, this is monetized, so there are advertisements before you get into the stream. Hopefully that is okay with you. And I'll talk about some other new features which don't appear on this live stream just yet. But okay, so here we go. So that's me. Well, I only see one reflection here. Okay, there. Aha. There's the third me. And if I get the camera just right, there should be a fourth me in there somewhere. And you can see my nice lighting in the background that you can't see. What is that effect called? I can't remember. All right. So anyway, I'm a little bit excited because of the previous live stream that I joined in on. But I want to say again a quick thank you to Graham for having this bottle sent to me. This is actually from the distillers themselves. So big thanks to them as well. Cheers, everybody. And I hope you're having a great Tuesday night. Not the greatest night for whiskey, but every night is good, isn't it? Cheers. So this Downriver, obviously it's not that old. I can't remember the exact age of this, but it's at least 3 years old because that's Canadian law. And for a 3-year-old rye whiskey, that's 47%. By the way, this is, batch number 1. So 47%. It's fantastic. This is lot 40 quality. This is beyond MGP rye. Really, really, really lovely. Anyway, so if you're in Canada, check out the distillery, which is called Moonshine Creek Distillery, and see if you can try to get yourself a bottle of that in the future. I think they're on batch 2. I don't know if they've sold out of that, but I guess there'll be batch 3 coming probably later this year, I think. Maybe. It's crisp. It's got everything you want from a rye, and it's got a little bit of nice spice in there too. And stylistically, it's a Canadian rye, a Canadian 100% rye, versus an American, a straight rye, which I think the corn has a pretty big effect on that. And then even if you get up to 95% rye, for example, MGP, it's different. It's different. So this is a real stylistic difference with Canadian and American ryes. I think the only one that I have found that has come close in my books for an American rye is, oh my goodness, this is just crazy. Graham, you, I'm going to have to get you back for that. This is very, very thoughtful and highly appreciated. He decided to add a little bit to the coffers of WhiskyWhistle, which will go towards future, not just bottles, but also future merch for the WhiskyWhistle crew. I think that's what I'll earmark that money for. So thanks very much. And we'll hide that. That's fantastic. That should be suspended in YouTube for a little while. Yes, there it is. Okay, big thanks. All right, so that is the Downriver Rye, and I'm pouring myself way too much. If I pour that much of each whiskey that I'm going to sip tonight with you, then tomorrow is going to be a very, very nasty day. Wonderful. Okay, I want to get back into the Glencadam 15, and I've already added water. Oh yeah, you can really see now the temperature is about 15 or 16 degrees, and I've added a fair amount of water, so you can see the cloudiness. Okay, and if you're just joining in and you're not really big into whiskey, keep in mind that this is desire. This is what you want from your whiskey. And what is the cloud? It's a mix of compounds and triglycerides and other heavier compounds that typically get filtered out through a bunch of paper filters, kind of like coffee, to get that out. So you need those in there to give you the fullest flavor of your whiskey. Really beautiful lemony and pear orchard fruits with the Glencadam 15. Highly recommend that one as well. I think that's probably their, if not their best seller, probably the 10 is their best seller, but I think the 15 is the most talked about online. Excellent. And I use something different for water to add to the whiskey, and this is the Source Highland actual spring water from the Highland region of Scotland. And this particular one is, let's see here, 302 ppm total dissolved mineral salts. So it certainly does add a little bit of, let's say, just something versus distilled water, for example. All right, excellent. And I'll just post Graham's comment on the Moonshine Creek's Downriver Rye. So something definitely that you should check out. Wonderful. All right. So if you're watching, why not throw up a little comment. Tell me what you're having tonight, or what you're planning to have maybe for Whiskey Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And all right, now I want to tell you a couple things that I have that I've added. If you check out the description of this video, you're going to find something different, and that is another way if you are interested to support WhiskyWhistle, and that is through buymeacoffee.com/WhiskyWhistle. So you can buy me a coffee. Of course, that's really going to go towards a dram. You can buy me a coffee through there if you do want to support the channel. Of course, the videos are always going to be up here on YouTube for you to watch and enjoy. There may eventually be some unique content for Patreon, but this is, of course, going to be the mainstay. Will be this YouTube channel right here. And if you're watching on Facebook, welcome, hello. I'm glad you're watching, and if you'd like to stay in Facebook, that's totally great. I will check out the comments there in a second. And I see one again from Graham. He's watching on 2 different channels, it seems. Is he? I think I just showed that. Okay. No. But anyway, so if you're watching on Facebook, whether it is WhiskyWhistle, the page, or if it's WhiskyWhistle and Friends, the Facebook group, keep on watching, or if you want to, you can just slide on over here to YouTube and check us out here. All right, so wonderful. Boy, what am I going to do? I should have brought us some more glasses. I think I know what I'll do. Okay. Do something unorthodox here. I'm going to get crazy. I'm going to pour my Glencadam into a water bottle, which I'll have some other time, but I want this glass freed up, and I'm going to rinse it out, throw that away, Okay, and then we're going to get into something else. Probably we should start with something that's going to really attract people here, and that is something that a lot of people are talking about. And I'm lucky. I guess I'm lucky I got it. I hear I'm lucky that I got it, and that is Barrell Seagrass. Let's get that. There we go. Barrell Seagrass. A very interesting bottle, and yet again, this is a rye whiskey. And it's also a rye whiskey that is a blend of American and Canadian rye whiskeys. So the cool thing here is you're getting the best of both worlds. Okay. So we'll have a little bit of this one. Just a little taste. Even that's a lot if I'm going to keep trying bottle after bottle here tonight with you. All right, so yeah, where are you and what's in your glass? That's some things I'd love to hear from you. So just give a little tappy tap on your keyboard and let's hear from you, all right? Okay, so this is the Barrell Seagrass. I think I just put the bottle away. Why did I do that? Boom, that guy. And there it is. Cheers, everybody. First of all, for something that is, well, blended, it's a blended whiskey, a blended rye whiskey, which is kind of different, right? This is just so unique. And the cool thing about this one, and I'll just read this here, rye whiskey finished in Martinique rum, Madeira, and apricot brandy barrels. And I'll tell you, the apricot brandy barrels probably captured about 20% of the palate and about half of the finish here. It is really, really apricot-y, which is fantastic. It's working wonderfully well with the rye spice and that mintiness that you get with rye. So rye seagrass, very interesting. And so, in fact, I've got two rye whiskeys in my glasses here. I've got the Downriver Rye in the WhiskyWhistle glass and the Barrell Seagrass here in the Cigars Whiskey and Winning glass. Graham, yes, it's a pretty amazing little whiskey. I mean, I shouldn't say a little because it's pretty high proof. It is 59.56. I'm just amazed that they wanted to go down to the 100th%. That's pretty impressive. So 59.56%. And only 3,000 bottles of this. But I have a feeling that you're going to see a second edition of that. I hope, because I think everybody needs to try that. So great stuff. Okay, I'll just put up an obligatory little something here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everyone. Not to say that I'm near done yet. Glad you're here. And of course, I spelled "you're" wrong. Oops. Okay. And I'm going to pop over to Facebook just to leave a little comment for everybody. Cody might be watching along. Cody, if you're watching along, nice to see you. And let me know. I mean, are you having a dram tonight? And if so, what is it? That'd be great to know. Hey, folks. Glad you're here. There we go. I spelled the "you're" right this time. Okay. Wonderful. Wunderbar. All right, so that was some rye. And again, what am I going to do? I do not want to just throw that down the hatch. but I have no other choice because I don't want to throw it away. I have no other vessel to pour it in unless I want to leave you here with nobody sitting and watching. The trouble I get myself in. Cheers, everyone. As Mr. Furley said, smooth. I just aged myself. Yes, I used to watch Three's Company. Okay. Definitely have to cut down the size of these little drams. All right, we got Sasha Oswald who's joined in. Great to see you. Yes, a nice little lineup tonight. Some things I have not reviewed yet, like, for example, the Glencadam 15. What else? The Downriver Rye from Moonshine Creek Distillery. And from Barrell, their Seagrass. So that one is fantastic. I can't wait to get that review done. Okay, and then what's next in my glass? Okay, some people have been checking out my last review, my last current review. I posted an old review, which was Laphroaig Carchus 2020. So I don't have that here tonight, but the one before that, I compared Naked Malt, also known as that's funny. I got to put that up here. A couple of comments I got to put up. Sasha, thanks for joining in. Glad you're watching. All right. So a couple of things. That review, the most current recent review is Naked Malt versus Waterproof. And a lot of people are telling me that they have not seen this yet. They don't know what it is, and they're really curious about it. And this is not just some upstart company putting out a whiskey that's, going to disappear in a year. This is from Macduff International, who make Islay Mist, which has been around for a very long time. And from the smell and the taste of this is going to go the distance, I believe. I think I have a little bit of a weird delay. Okay, there it is. Okay. Anyway, hopefully my video is running pretty smoothly. I'm outside. I am physically about 20 meters. No, not 20. 12 meters. Yeah. 12 meters, maybe 10 from my Wi-Fi. All right, and we have a very special person who's popped in, and that is this fella, 2 wheels down, also known as Swami Suave. Swami, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Anyway, something new, and it's inexpensive, and it's a blended malt, and it's also high proof, 45.8%. So you can check that out next. Or I'll put up another sherry malt, and that is Bladnoch 15. So which one would you like to see next? Please leave a comment. Do you want to see waterproof? Or would you like to see the Bladnoch Adela next? Okay, I'll stop juggling these. Really glad you're here, Swami. It's been a while since we chatted, about maybe 2 months. And this fella's popular if Graham is so excited, which he is. And well deserved. Okay, so which one would you like to see next? Sasha says waterproof. Okay. I'll let 2 other people vote, and then we'll go with that one. If that's going to be the waterproof. And what Swami wants to see is a one raccoon attack. And it might actually happen because I'm in my backyard and I've seen a couple of vermin dig little tunnels under the fence. Oh, shit. No, I'm just kidding. No raccoons here, but some bunnies. So there could be a bunny attack. Okay, so Graham says the Bladnoch, and he's curious about the waterproof. I'm just going to throw up Sasha's little comment here. Okay. And yeah, nice bomber. Yeah, you like that? It's kind of, old man style. Perfect for a middle-aged man, to look and try to look cool and seem hip. You can wear it with a hoodie, with your hat. You can go like that, right? Especially if it's cold or if you just want to look badass. You look like the Unabomber. Is that the Unabomber? Okay. All right. So I think it's going to be waterproof next. So we'll do that. I think I got to throw some water here. Oh, no, a skunk. I mean, obviously it didn't spray you, but did it kind of ruin the smell and taste of the cigar? And Sasha, I'm sorry, I forget where you are. Okay. So anyway, I've got a review of this up. I think it's the first review ever of waterproof on YouTube. Hopefully that means it's going to be, I don't know, a 20,000 view, 30,000 view, 50,000 view video. It's a little long though, but I do compare it with the market leader for sherried blended malt, which is Naked Malt, also known as Naked Grouse. Okay, again, why did I do that? Look at how much I poured. You guys are killing me here. Okay, so the nose is really, I want to say it's constricted sherry. It's kind of like there's something salty going on there, but you don't really get the full-on sherry nose that you do with Naked Malt. But one thing I noticed, you pour the glass and you leave it for, say, half an hour, and then you do get some really old sherry casks coming through there. And I think that's the beauty of this one. Yeah, I think you've got some really nice casks, and I think you've got some really interesting older single malts blended in this. I think some Old Pulteney, that's my gut feeling there, Old Pulteney sherry cask. And what else could be in there? A little bit of Tamdu. Just a gut feeling though. And the cool thing is that they're going to release that in batches. So I don't know if it's this side, right? Oh yeah, you can see it both sides. So here it says batch number 1. And on the back of the bottle, they talk about wanting to have batch variants, wanting to have things get different batch to batch. So I think that's going to be alongside things like what's it called? Big Pete. It's going to be a very collectible blended malt, not like a collection to sell at profit, but a collection to have batch 1, batch 2, batch 3, batch 4, and be able to pour those for your friends and have it as a very budget-friendly, delicious sherried single malt. All right, and we have my my local very good friend Hyun Hee. So Hyun Hee, everybody say hello to Hyun Hee. Good to have you along. Now I missed something here. What, Swami, what do you say? Anyone says otherwise is capital R, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and Sasha is in Grimsby, Ontario. I think I knew that. That's right, Sasha. You're right by the 40 Creek Distillery. And what's that brewery that they collaborated with? Leather. Okay. All right, here we go. Swami's got a leather bomber. That's badass. And then he says that anybody who says otherwise is capital R and then some other word that I probably shouldn't say online. All right, Henny, cheers. So Henny is a Winnipegger. He is a Korean, what can I say? He's a citizen of Korea living in Canada as a permanent resident and enjoying Canada life, enjoying the freedom, enjoying the outdoors, enjoying the big backyards and the bigger houses that we get here versus living in Seoul, where people generally live, it's like you're lucky if you live in 1,000 square feet for a family of 4. Most people probably live in like 650 square feet. So it's pretty tough. It's hard to have stuff. You can't have bikes for everybody. They gotta be stored outside, and so it's pretty tough. So here you can have more space, of course, but anyway, really happy to have Henny here in Winnipeg. He makes some very great Korean style rice beer, also known as rice wine. But think about the misnomer here. Rice is a grain, and wine is something that you make with fruit. So rice wine actually doesn't really match. So in fact, rice beer is the best term for it. But anyway, I'm going on a big digression there. Okay. And Swami's asking why I'm sleeping in the backyard. In fact, the back door was locked. So Swami, I was just in another live stream on a cigar channel. Had a little bit of a cigar tonight, and that was fun. And when I tried to get back in the house, the door was locked. So I thought, okay, worst case scenario, I can walk to my brother's house, or I can walk, to my parents' house and crash there. But she opened the door. Thank goodness. Okay. All right. So wonderful. I just poured some of that now, didn't I? Where did I pour it? Right here, this big, massive glass of waterproof. If you're in Winnipeg, you can get this right now. It looks like it's available in the Netherlands. It's also available in Germany. Just going by what I see on Whiskey Base, which I'm slowly trying to upload my collection, my stash of whiskeys on there. All right, and we have another local Canadian friend, and that is Ben, also known as Ben Demon Hunter. Cheers, Ben. Welcome. I guess I should put up his first comment. There we go. Great to have you. Ben, is this available where you are? And if not, I have a feeling that it will be by year's end, because I can't imagine that the importer would bring this only to Manitoba and not try to get into other markets. I have no idea why this ended up first in North America in Winnipeg. One cool thing, though, is that Winnipeg is a really good test market for success of products. All right, so as I mentioned, the longer you leave it in the glass, the more sherry influence you're getting on the nose. But the fantastic thing is the palate. So cheers, folks. Welcome. Whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on YouTube, I'm really glad you're here. Cheers. It's so nicely balanced. You've got something savory and something sweet, a little bit spicy, a little bit herbal, little to no peat influence here, but you've got that coastal saline, the coastal brininess coming through here. And Ben, that is almost the opposite of what is true. Somehow, it's like this just happened to get here by luck, only by luck. Winnipeg is, I want to say, Manitoba, the whole province is at the absolute nadir, the lowest point in availability for single malt Scotch whiskey. I think also for bourbon as well, there's a lot of holes in the selection here. We don't have very much for Four Roses except their very basic bottle. So many holes that need to be filled. So it kind of sucks, but all right. What did I just read here? Kensington. I wonder if Kensington will have this. Probably they will eventually. So waterproof, definitely worth checking out. And again, I mean, I did it to myself. I poured this much, and waste not, want not. So gents and ladies, and whoever else is watching, puppies and kittens, cheers. Oh, that's the last one I do like that. I think some Glenrothes is in there too. So that's waterproof. And that's a really good segue to move into, I guess, a really upscale sherry malt. And that is this guy, Bladnoch Adela, 15-year-old, which it's really bizarre. Again, Canada, Alberta, generally Alberta, seems to end up with a few of these every now and again, even though this is no longer produced. So if you do see this, whether it's Kensington Wine Market or whether it is, I think I've got to turn up my lights here, or whether it is Craft Cellars, that is a great bottle to have. And it comes in just a standard box, a fairly hefty box, but you also get this. I've got to turn this upside down. This hasn't been opened for a few weeks. Now do we still have Swami? Swami, are you still here? I know it's kind of late for you over there in Quebec, and even for Graham as well. That's a pretty late night for you already. Coming up on, I guess, 1:15 in the morning. Okay. And Graham's talking about the Writer's Tears cask strength. Now, Graham, are you having the current, like the 2021 edition, or an older one? Oh man, I almost did it again, but I think I just poured about 10, 15 milliliters. I should have only been pouring 5. Whew. Okay. So Bladnoch, that's a lowland single malt from the lowland region of Scotland, and has quickly become one of my favorite single malt whiskeys. I have the 10-year-old. In fact, I'm on my second bottle. Haven't cracked it yet, but I have it in the wings. And I've got a spare of this guy waiting for someday long in the future when I'm ready to have that, maybe with my daughters when they become of age. And I'm just going to turn up my light a little bit. Bear with me. Maybe that's too bright, but anyway, we'll go with it. The 2021, right? So we tried that in the Irish edition of the Winnipeg Whisky Club, which is right here. Yes, Winnipeg Whisky Club. A little plug. If you're in Winnipeg, you got to check out the Winnipeg Whisky Club. All right. Okay, so while I let that sort of sit and mingle with itself, I am going to try to put up a picture. Let's see if I can do this. Banners, comments, no. How do I do that? Share. That's the one. Okay. So the Winnipeg Whiskey Festival is coming up on June 2nd and 3rd. Do not burp on film, Mark. Don't burp. Okay, it's gone. I was given a ticket, a press ticket for June 2nd. And then I thought to myself, I had a really hard time trying to live stream and enjoy the evening last time because I'm holding the camera the whole time. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to ask and see if I can get another ticket for a cameraman, camera person. Cameraman, come on. And they said, sure. So anyway, so I've got a fellow Whiskey Club, Winnipeg Whiskey Club member who happens to be a film school grad. His name is Brendan O'Shaughnessy. He is I guess, I don't think he can be a former mixologist. He's still a mixologist. He's a mixologist. His name is Brendan O'Shaughnessy. So he's going to be joining me and filming while I'm walking around and trying out all the whiskeys, and he'll try to, and we'll talk together. He's going to be mic'd. He'll be a mic'd cameraman. So we'll have kind of like a narrator and me kind of talking back and forth with a couple of interviews of whiskey brand ambassadors or producers. There'll be a few producers, a few distillers that'll be there to be part of the whole whiskey festival event here in Winnipeg. And I'm just going to throw up this little video. So bear with me a second here. Got to do this old school, mail it to myself. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Okay, so this Bladnoch, 15-year-old. I think this is the second edition. They have two different bottling years. And I agree. I think it's going to be awesome with Brendan on the camera. And I've got some new tech. I've got a what do you call it? A gimbal. I've got a gimbal. So he'll hold the gimbal. I'll bring a tripod just in case. And I think at some point we're going to try the gourmet buffet from a local chef that they've put on from the Hotel Fairmont. And Ben, congratulations on your eldest daughter having her birthday coming up on June 2nd. Cheers. Your eldest is 3 years older than my eldest. So anyway, this Bladnoch 15, it's really interesting because it's a lowland at its core, and you can't get away from that. So it's a lowland malt. It's herbal. It's different. I want to say that lowland malts, in a way, are kind of like film school grads from university. You kind of know them, but they're always a little bit different. But when you actually end up hanging out with them, it's like the best night ever. You know what I mean? So this is a lowland malt, and then you throw in some sherry casks, and the sherry casks don't even really budge that lowland style. So you're just getting a little bit of a coating of red fruity goodness going on. And Sean, thank you for chiming in there. Really appreciate that. I think you're a rather recent discoverer of WhiskyWhistle, so cheers to you. I'm happy you're here. It's delicate, and yet it's also different. So it's not Macallan, it's not Aberlour, it's nothing like that. It's not Bunnahabhain. It's its own style. And if you didn't know that there was a region of Scotch whiskey called the Lowlands, and you had some experience with it, you might think this was an Australian single malt, or a Netherlands single malt, or a Canadian single malt, or an American single malt. You might not actually pin this as a Scotch single malt, is because it's so different. And I've got a cookie here. My wife made some cookies tonight, so I'm going to have a little bite of that too. It's kind of shortbready. Very buttery. How much butter did she put in this? And likewise, Graham, I'm so happy that Sean's here. Cheers. Nutty, buttery. And there's some, I think there's a Smartie in there. But the cool thing about this, the Bladnoch, actually, these sherry casks are probably some of the best in the industry. And the reason why they no longer make this Adela is because they can't get casks that are that good in a large enough quantity to make sense. Yeah, they don't have much information right here on this, but I think it was Ralphie's review of this. I don't think he liked this very much. I love it, actually. Sometimes we have very similar palates, but sometimes we have very different ones. Hi, Ralphie. Hopefully I'll have you on my channel at some point on a live stream. That would be really awesome. But Bladnoch actually commented on Ralphie's video review of this on YouTube, and they talked about the fact that there were two different parcels, two different batches. It might have been like 2003, 2004, for example. I'm not sure if those are the years, but so they're a little bit different, but they stopped making it because they just cannot get the casks that they need for this. So again, if you see this, grab it, don't hesitate. And it's 46.7%, 15 years old. And I want to say that even if you see this up to 200 Canadian, or like 140, American. It's a buy. Now, Graham mentioned he is enjoying some Loch Lomond. And I don't think I have the open Loch Lomond 15. I have a different bottle, a different open bottle. I've got two different open bottles. Open, like the open, the Golf Open, the open. I have a bunch of Loch Lomond bottles open, but the open bottle, I don't have the Loch Lomond 15. And that should be pretty awesome. And I just read this. I am so pissed at you. So jealous. So he is going to, what can I say? Tickle the clubs at St. Andrews. That's pretty awesome. Cheers. Okay, so here we do have Swami still with us tonight. He's having an IPA, which I had with my dinner tonight. Now, the Avant-Garde Brasserie, is that a local malt in Montreal? A local fermented malt? A local beer from Montreal? Wait a minute, IPL. India Pale Lager? Is that what that is? What the heck is that? I've never seen an India Pale Lager, but I'm happy it exists. All right, awesome. Okay, awesome, great. Hey, Swami, what say you send me a couple of local microbrews from Montreal, and I'll do the same from Winnipeg. Sound good? Yes? No? Maybe so? Oui? No? What's the word for maybe? I forget the word for maybe in French. I just said the word for maybe in Korean, which is amado. Ama. Kose. All right, great stuff. Okay, so that was the Bladnoch, which I have not reviewed yet. I've got the 10-year-old review up. That was a whiskey of the year for me, I believe. Yes, it was. That's the 15-year-old. Cheers, folks. And I still have the Barrell Seagrass right here, which the more I smell it, the more I taste it, all I can say is hats off to the good people at Barrell. I think it's just Barrell. The good people at Barrell, the Barrell company with 2 L's on the word barrel, for making some really interesting whiskeys, which are typically blended, and they're obviously sourced. I don't know if they have their own distillery yet. I'm guessing that's probably in the works. It seems like every single non-distilling producer who's doing great. Excuse me. Every non-distilling producer who's doing great has the plan or the idea to eventually open a distillery. Recently, it was which one now? The makers of Single Malts of Scotland and a few other kind of brands, independent whiskey brands. They've just broken ground and started building a new Isla distillery. I forget the name of it though. And this, I mean, come on. Swami wants me to meet him in Milwaukee in June. That'll be tough, but you never know. You never know. I know we talked about that before, but it's always about the money, right? Okay. All right. I want to take one more sip of the Barrell Seagrass. So that guy. And if you have not tried any of their products, simply based on this bottle and how good it is, how ridiculously amazing it is, just grab a bottle. And I don't have my glasses here, but what's the there's a weird kind of a comedy on like Facebook and TikTok. Some guy named Mike Cakes. So it's like this. You see something, and it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of sexy. He's like, grab me that bottle. What? Sir? But that bottle is spoken forward. I said, grab me that bottle. It's the most hilarious kind of lowbrow humor on Facebook, I think. Mike Cakes with a Z at the end. Did not spill any. I did not spill any. Whew. But right, very apricot-y, and it's working so well with the rye whiskey. And by the way, I'm wearing this hat. So my friend Joe down in Chicago, he does a lot of writing for the Whiskey Network, which is affiliated with the what is it called? Whiskey, bourbon, Scotch, whiskey, bourbon, Scotch, something, I don't know, some Facebook group. They've grown so big. They've got a company they've started and a website that has some interesting content there. So you can check that out. Okay. And Swami thinks I'm drunk, but I'm totally not. Because if I was drunk, could I say this? Peter Piper picks a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Yeah. All right. A little drunk, but not enough to not enunciate my words. No. What the heck is the name of that group? And I wanted to put up a picture here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to disappear for 1 second here. Hopefully I'm still visible. Inbox. Back. No, that's not the one. Come on. Okay, it'll be coming really soon. I want to put up this picture of the June 2nd live stream. I'll be live streaming the Winnipeg Whiskey Festival. And Swami thinks I'm definitely drunk, but I disagree. I totally disagree. It's not visible. It's not visible at all. I'm just happy. I'm just really elated. I am thrilled to be amongst a very interesting group on this night, which is May 10th, soon to be May 11th. And it's fantastic. Okay. I'm going to rinse this glass, and then we'll talk about the next bottle that I have here tonight. In fact, I'm going to talk about 2 bottles. And this is a distillery that I think few people are really gung-ho about. It's affiliated with another distillery. In fact, it's located on the same grounds as Glenfiddich and Balvenie. And that is Kinninvie. I've got a review of Kinninvie 17 up, which is quite lovely. But they've kind of changed their what can I say? They've changed their focus. It's become kind of their experimental distillery. So they do things like blending, like making a single malt Scotch whiskey, which doesn't sound so strange. But what's really cool is that they triple distilled it, and the first distillation was 5 hours. The second distillation was 5.5 hours. And then the third distillation in the same still, because they only have 2 stills there, I think, was 9.4 hours. So they really slowed it down. So really slow third distillation. It's an ex-bourbon cask, and it was filled in 2013 and bottled in 2019, which you might be able to see if I can get this to focus. And you see, Swami, I'm totally not drunk. But then they also do things at the same distillery. So a blended Scotch whiskey from the same distillery. So you can think of this as a single blend. It's all made in one distillery. They have 2 different types of stills. And my goodness, I mean, come on, Graham. I just can't thank you enough. That's a huge, a big push, a big motivation for WhiskyWhistle to do some cool things with WhiskyWhistle crew very soon. I think some shirts are in order. Anyway, so Kinninvie blended malt, and I've been micro sipping these for about a year, and I don't know why I have not reviewed these yet, except for the fact that it's really hard to get as much done as I want. I wish I could put out a video a day, like the Whiskey Tribe and a Whiskey Vault, but I don't have the resources. I don't have an editing crew, so all the editing is done by me. All of the camera work and the camera adjustments are done by me. The purchasing is done by me. And a few people send me samples and bottles, but not to the extent that they get. And I mean, of course, they deserve it. They're doing a lot of, what can I say, really, really great things that people want to see. So they deserve all of the amazing things that come their way. But anyway, we're going to try these 2 Kinninvie whiskeys. And this, what is it now? The Barrell Seagrass has to go down the hatch. Cheers, folks. Wow. It's like apricot kernels, a little bit of marzipan added into that rye whiskey style. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to pour the single malt first. Again, that was too much. I was not thinking. And and the Kinniby blended malt. Now, these are cool bottles. They're 500 milliliters, and they're very much flask style, so that you can actually throw that in your coat pocket, and probably nobody would know. You know, if you're a lush like me. Okay. So the single malt, again, that's about 6 years, 5 or 6 years in ex-bourbon. It's triple distilled, which is really cool. And I say it's really cool because, I mean, with a few exceptions like Auchentoshan, not many distilleries in Scotland always do triple distillation, and very few experiment with it. So Kinniby single malt. Very light, it's very bright. And yet it's a little bit nutty. A nice spicy finish. And for 6 years old, it's more than ready for the market. And isn't it refreshing now that we see things like Ardbeg 5-year-old, we see 8-year-old from Lagavulin, and a few other distilleries. Ardbeg put out an 8-year-old. I guess that's a for discussion. So what can you call it? It's kind of an experiment for them. I think that they may as well, if they've got a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old, they may as well have an 8-year-old in between someday. There's been some blended Scotch whiskeys that have been put out at 8 years old, like I think, what is it now? Grant's has an 8-year-old blended Scotch whiskey out. So it's really interesting that the pendulum is swung back towards younger single malt and also younger blended Scotch whiskeys for Scotch whiskey. You know, for bourbon, for Canadian whiskey, 6 years old, 8 years old is very much kind of like de rigueur, but great. And Graham loves the fact that Kinniby is a very interesting place. And I don't know, Swami might be right about me being a little bit drunk, but I'm trying to hold it in here. Okay, so now the blended Scotch whiskey from Kinniby, which is right here. So this one I really enjoy. And there's something different here. The single grain whiskey is made with malted rye, malted barley, and also malted rye. So a really, really different mash, a really different kind of mash bill. That's not really a term used in Scotch whiskey, but it should be. So what does it say? Concerto malted barley and 1 ton of malted rye. 5.6 tons of concerto malted barley. A 5-hour mash cycle and a very, very long fermentation of 102 hours. Typical distillation times for the wash distillation and the spirit distillation. And then it was filled in virgin American oak for the single grain whiskey. The single malt, 9.8 tons, I think I'm losing my eyesight, but I'm going to need a steampunk, what do you call it? Magnifying glass like Ralphie someday. But it's really small. It's so small that that writing right there. See if I can get that in focus. Anyway, hard to focus on that. 9.6 tons of concerto malted barley. A 7-hour mash cycle. 65-hour fermentation for the single malt. 5 hours for the first distillation and 8 hours, 8 3/4 hours for the second distillation. And this is in European oak casks. It doesn't specify whether that's sherry or virgin oak or some other wine cask or whatever. And does not say the year the casks were filled, but bottled in 2019. So some really interesting whiskey here. And again, that is, may very well be all pot distilled. So the grain whiskey, because it's got the rye, that becomes a single grain whiskey, even if it's distilled in a pot. And then you got the single malt as well, blended together as a single blended Scotch whiskey, we'll call it. And we have somebody from Korean that's joined in. His name is Cho Hyuk-jin. And he just simply says, 안녕하세요, which is Korean for hello, how are you? And Ben, surely not. These sirens are all the way from Hudson Bay. That's like 1,000 kilometers away. But it's quite a nice night. It's very calm. And the birds have all fallen asleep, which is great. There is one cooing bird of some sort, which you can hear occasionally, which is really cool. And Hyuk-jin says, 방송 잘 보고 있어요. He's watching our live stream very well, so that's great. And we also have somebody from Facebook who I don't know. It just simply says Facebook user, who says cheers. So cheers back to you. Okay, so in my 2 glasses, I have just like this and like this. I have Kinnan single malt over here. Wait. Yeah, over here. Kinnan single malt and Kinnan blended Scotch whiskey, which is all blended at the same distillery. So these are the 2 bottles I've got right now. Whoa. Bang. I almost cracked my water can from Glencadam, but I did not. Okay. Oh, this is Joe. Hi, Joe. I can't see you because I am right in StreamYard and I can't see who that is. Okay, and I'm going to try to get this photo uploaded, which I've been talking about for like an hour now. Okay, there we go. Downloaded. And I'm going to try to upload that. Slides, video, share screen, window. I don't know what to do here. No, that's not very good. Okay, let me try that again. Share slides. No. Boy, I don't know how to share a photo here. Share screen. I'll try that. Okay. Go like this. screen. Bear with me, folks. I'm trying. Okay, here we go. Yay. All right, so this is a live stream coming up on June 2nd. I will be live streaming the whole Winnipeg Whiskey Festival from 6:30 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. And I'm going to be walking around and trying all kinds of different single malt Scotch whiskeys, rye whiskeys, bourbon whiskeys, and Indian whiskeys. I think there's even some whatchamacallit, what's that word? Oh my goodness, I am a little bit drunk tonight. I'm very sorry. From what's that island in Asia? Oh my goodness, Mark. Oh, I'm really done. This is not good. Boy, oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop this. But anyway, so there'll be some interviews with different distillers as well as Scotch whiskey brand ambassadors, and I'll be tasting lots of whiskeys and walking around and trying some interesting foods that they'll be having at the Winnipeg Whiskey Festival. It's gonna be really fun, and I hope you'll enjoy. I hope you'll enjoy it, and I hope you'll join. And oh my God, I'm going to have to cut this out really quick. I am very, very inebriated here. Okay, let me back this up here. X that. And Taiwanese whiskey. There'll be some Taiwanese whiskey. There'll be some Indian whiskey as well. So some Kavalan single malt whiskey from Taiwan, as well as some Rampur whiskey from India. Thank you very much, gents. I'm ooh boy. Okay, and Kinenby. Okay, we have a question here from Korea. He wonders what Kinenby is like, and I want to say it is it's really interesting because it's so different. The blended Scotch whiskey is extremely fragrant, and the rye, that addition of malted rye whiskey, makes it very, very different here. But sweet and fruity. The single malt, I cannot believe I forgot Kavalan Taiwanese single malt. Oh my goodness. The single malt, at least this, this single malt is very spicy. And I think one of the main reasons is here we have some very active ex-bourbon casks. If you get the 17-year-old or the 23-year-old Kinenby, it is very, very well balanced. This is actually very, very spicy, but very tasty. And it's about, 6 years old or so. Yeah. And then the blended malt, also roughly about the same age. No, pardon me, 4 years old. For the single grain, which includes the rye whiskey, the rye grain, in the mash. And then probably 3 or 4 years old for the single malt. For me, the blended Scotch whiskey from Kinenby is superb. and I have not seen much from them since these came out. These came out 3 years ago, and then COVID happened. So the distillery has basically been silent from a marketing perspective. Hopefully they come back again with something experimental and different and enjoyable. And we have a comment from Graham here. Kennedy seems to be more like Cutty Sark Prohibition in some ways, and I agree. It's really, really full flavored, and that proof, which here is 48.2%, really makes it just supremely enjoyable. Now, I have more that I want to talk about, and I don't think I can actually consume these and keep going on. So I'm afraid. What am I going to do? I'm going to put these together, and I'll save that for later. And we'll get some water in there to rinse the glass. And again, I apologize for the previous lapse in mental function. And I think it's not just because of the spirits I'm consuming, but also because of the late night, the excitedness that I feel here. It's a little bit embarrassing, but the next thing I want to try is another rye whiskey from the Netherlands, which is Millstone Barrel Proof. This is a bottling for KWM over in Alberta, Kensington Wine Market. There, that's the amount. Tonight, this is the amount that I should have been drinking, but I made a few mistakes, and I did not want to waste a really good whiskey. All right, so the barrel proof rye whiskey from Millstone, pardon me, which is a Dutch single rye whiskey. So, excuse me. Really cool here. They ferment this for 100 hours. And this particular bottle is bottled at 54.7%. And I think if you are a Canadian rye whiskey lover, you're going to love this one because it's really fantastic. But anyway, cheers. All right, gents. Thank you for the support here. So this particular bottle, which I would say is representative. There we go. Goodness. Representative of Millstone for their quality. The Millstone Barrel Proof Rye for KWM should tell you that you should be able to purchase any bottle of rye whiskey from Millstone. I mean, the single malts are amazing, but this rye whiskey is very special. It really reminds me of the early releases of the cask strength Lot 40, and a little bit also of the first release from Alberta Premium for their cask strength. It's so bright, it's so fruity, and utterly delicious. Really, really beautiful rye whiskey. And I haven't put up a formal review of a Millstone since the 46% Oloroso Sherry single malt. So I'll get that up very soon, but highly recommended. There's a little bit of a scent that's kind of reminiscent of gin, or the Genever, the Dutch original style of gin. And I guess this happens to be Joe. So Joe says, Mark out of the barrel, uncut. Yep, uncut, totally uncut. Totally uncut, actually. Where's my water? Here it is. And the distillers of Millstone, Zuidam Distillers, they make incredible whiskey. They make incredible Genever, which again is kind of like the original form, the very first gins were coming out of the Netherlands. So they have Oloroso barrel aged Genever that's like 30 years old. That's just unreal. Okay. Well, there are two things left to try. So we'll try them in order. And the first is something that is very dear to me. And I have a review coming out probably next week or the week after. Hopefully next week, actually. And that is Teeling Whiskey, the pot still. So single pot still from Teeling single malt, Teeling single pot still whiskey from Teeling Distillery in Dublin. And this one is truly distilled in Dublin. It is from the distillery. It's distilled by Alex Chasko. So we'll get that poured here. And I'll do a little bit of a Richard, what's his name? Richard, rinse your glass and then throw it away. Okay, so another tiny pour. Patterson, thank you. You guys, I really appreciate it. And to anybody who's watching this after the fact, just keep in mind that I've had a quite the day. Busy day at work. I unfortunately failed in an offer for my client. I'm a real estate agent, but I've now been on this live stream for going on an hour and a half. And then there was a 2-hour live stream before that on another channel. So Teeling single pot still. And yes, Richard Patterson is known as, his nickname is the Nose. Apparently he has a $1 million, what do you call it? Insurance on his nose. That's pretty amazing. I should get a, I don't know, $1,000 insurance policy on my nose. So what I want to say about the Teeling single pot still is, as I guess it's their second native release from their own distillery. Black Pits, the peated triple distilled Teeling single malt whiskey, and then the Teeling single pot still. This is so good that Joe, if you're watching, just grab this, okay? And anybody else who's looking for a very flavorful, interesting single pot still Irish whiskey, this is the guy. And I'm not saying that because I run the Teeling Whisky Society on Facebook, which I do. But it truly is fantastic, and it truly is expertly distilled and presented at 46%. It's unchill filtered. It is natural character, they write. I hope that means natural in color. But anyway, cheers from Winnipeg. Hopefully you're all having a great night tonight. So rich, so fruity. It's like very, very ripe apples, even some baked apples in there. Supremely delicious all around. A rich, satisfying. That's such a weird word. It's weird that satisfying is such a buzzword right now. Anyway, it's a rich, satisfying Irish single pot still whiskey. Cheers. So Ben is asking if the Teeling pot still easily beats the Glendalough pot still. I don't think I've had the pot still from Glendalough. I've only had the single malt, so I really wouldn't know. But I think that if the pot, the single pot still from Glendalough is their own distillate from their new distillery, I'm sure it'll be in the ballpark. Ooh. I spilled some. You can easily find Kilbeggan single pot still, and to me, this is much more well balanced. Smells very nice. I spilt it right in my palms. Nice. Right then. So that's the Teeling. I highly recommend that as well. In fact, amongst the 5 basic bottles of Teeling, the Black Pits and the single pot still, I think these are the best bottles that they've got so far. So get that, okay? Okay. What is that? Okay, let me just rinse out my glass. And then the final pour tonight. And to Ben, thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate that. So here we go. Aultmore 18-year-old. I've also had this for a while. I don't think quite a year, but round about that amount of time. And for the Bacardi malts, I think this is really one you should watch out for, because first of all, it is presented the way we like. It's 46% ABV. I cannot believe I just threw that much malt away. All right, so it's 46%. It is unchill filtered, which is here somewhere. There we go. Right on the back, I'll show you that back label. Okay, so right here, natural color and non-chill filtered. Okay, so Ralphie, this is for sure an integrity bottle. And if Ralph, I don't know, I don't think Ralphie's tried this one on his channel yet, but I really feel that he should, because to me this is pretty much the epitome of Speyside for something that is bourbon matured. All right, so Aultmore. And Joe says the Foggy Moss. Yes, it is the Foggy Moss, the Aultmore of the Foggy Moss. And I want to say that it's Speyside, but it acts more like a Highland whiskey. But keep in mind that all Speyside whiskeys, in fact, our Highland whiskeys. It's very light. It is very citrusy and crisp, underripe apple. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. I should taste it first, though, shouldn't I? I really should. Okay, I'll taste it first. We have 100% pure mustard joining in. And he says he has a bottle of this. Batch 481. He's talking about pure mustard. Are you talking about the Aultmore? Yes, this one also is batch number 481. I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's see if I can get that in focus. That is tough. There it is. Okay, so batch 481. All right, good night, Ben. Thanks for joining. It's so gentle. It is so light and fragrant. The underripe apples, the citrus, just beautiful. And pure mustard likes the Aultmore 12-year-old as well. I have that as well. I also think it's phenomenal. In fact, I tried the 12-year-old first, and I thought to myself, this is unreal. And nobody is after this. This is totally an what's the word? Underappreciated, lesser known single malt Scotch whiskey. I tried the 12-year-old. I thought for sure I have to get that 18 because I'm sure it's going to be the same but better. It's crisp, it's fresh, fruity, and delicious. And I swear to goodness, if you want to make that into a highball Japanese style cocktail, this will be unreal. And Joe down in Chicago, he mentions that Aultmore 12 is a solid one and one of his first few entry bottles. First few entry-level single malt Scotch whiskey bottles. I think that's what he's trying to say. Beautiful. Now, I'm afraid, oh yeah, that's the Kinninvie. I have the Kinninvie single malt and the Kinninvie blended Scotch whiskey here in one glass. So as a glass, a blended glass, that's still a blended Scotch whiskey in the glass as well. I mean, it smells incredible. Boy, oh boy. Now, I think I'm going to have to cut this out because I think I'm losing my ability to communicate here. So that's pretty funny. Aultmore 18 over here. And it's just so amazing. I mean, if you are a sherried single malt Scotch whiskey lover, this is not for you. But if that's all you drink, my question to you is, do you really like Scotch single malt whiskey? Because I think not. Okay, well, this was a lot of fun. And I think that, I don't know, I'm going to have to cut this out. So I thank you very much for watching. And I probably should not have finished all those big glasses of whiskey like this one. I will enjoy this blend of Kinninvie and also this Aultmore 18 tonight, as I maybe have a little bit of a what's the word? Downtime. Self downtime tonight. And I'm gushing and I'm silly and I'm unintelligible. Oh my God. Unintelligible. And that's a warning sign. So thanks a lot for watching, and I appreciate it. I'll see you for the next one. A big thanks to Graham for all of the wonderful super chats that he sent. Take care, folks, and we'll see you for the next one. Have a good night wherever you are. Take care. Good night.